Very warm welcome to each one of you here. As a policy student, one thing that you have to always realize is there's a lot of gap between what we speak in classroom and what happens in the real world out there. In order to fill up this lacunae or the gap that exists in any university or institution, it's very important that you interact with people who are on the field and who actually know how challenging policy making can be, and most important, how challenging implementation of policies could be. One of the things that you will realize, because you will do papers on urban governance and city economics, is that India is getting urbanized very fast, and with urbanization, we have innumerable problems. And the basic problem starts with how do you ensure that our cities and towns become more livable? And for this, you need urban governance, which is connected to the challenges that you and I face on a day-to-day basis. Our first point of interaction in urban governance or in our day-to-day life happens to be our corporators. I'm not sure how many of you even recollect the name of the corporators of your wards in your municipalities or corporations. Like I was just talking to our guest today and I said, I don't even know who's the corporator in my house, in my ward, because it doesn't seem to make a difference. But Sir had a very interesting take on it. He said, we the middle class normally want to keep away from all political or all politicians, and which is so true, right? But you as a policy student need to keep in connect with all plethora of people, all the stakeholders who are there in policy making. So it's indeed a pleasure for all us in the Department of Economics and Public Policy to have a corporator here with us, a corporator with a difference. Because normally when you think of corporators, we think they just come to us once in 5 years during the campaign time, and after that we don't even recollect their names as is the case with me. But here is a person who has actually made a difference in our day-to-day life, not just for his ward, but to Bengaluru city itself. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. Manjunath Raju, who is an engineer by profession and politician by passion. But sir, I'm just wondering if that is true, because you said there was such a disappointment in terms of the way things are in political space. But in any case, what makes him different is the fact that he's a corporator who is very proactive. A corporator who has actually made a difference for me and to millions of people in Bangalore. What is the difference that he made? You should be aware that the most important source of revenue at the urban local bodies is the property tax. The payment of property tax was a very laborious and a challenging thing for an ordinary person. More so people like us who shy away from interacting with bureaucrats and political leaderships. Mr. Manjunath Raju, using his technical background, was able to bulldoze the other stakeholders and bring in a system of property tax payment, which has made it very convenient for us. And he has used technology to show how urban governance can be improved and how common man need not have to go through a huge amount of harassment. So today, if I have to pay my property tax, it just takes me a minute or two. And that was not the case a couple of years ago. This is what makes it interesting for us today to sit here and to listen to Mr. Manjunath Raju, because he's going to tell us what is it that technology can be, how we can use technology as a tool in order to make our cities more livable and lovable. Of course, sir is talking specific to Bengaluru, but Bengaluru, remember, is the fastest growing city in India. It attracts the highest amount of migrants, and the Bengaluru model can be applicable to any other cities across India. Sir, it's indeed a pleasure to have you here. Sir has been acknowledged and awarded for the initiatives that he has taken with regard to bringing in technology, particularly in the space of property tax in Bengaluru city, because it has made a big difference. And he's also a corporator who has bigger dreams, I'm presuming, for not just his ward, but for the city and the state. Sir, over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I think I am very, very surprised to see so many young people who have taken public policy at this age, because when I was studying, we were not even aware of what is public policy. I'm very glad that I'm interacting with young students, and at the same time, I would like to say pertain to the city where you are seeing the rapid development of urbanization which is happening in the entire country, and especially Bangalore, which is growing at so fast. It is actually the fastest growing city in the entire Asia, not even India now. And if you recollect, before 2008, I'll just go to the point, because if I start speaking, it'll take for me around 3 to 4 hours to at least explain the urban governance. And any questions you have got, anything, you can make a note of it. Anything. And don't think it is irrelevant. All the questions will be relevant actually. Don't ever think like that. You can ask me anything you want. If you recollect past 2008 before, Bangalore city had a governance area of only 200 square kilometers. And the census population of city was below 50 lakhs. Census population was below 50 lakhs. And why I'm telling all this is, if you can recheck what was the population during independence of the entire country, it was somewhere around 33 to 34 crores. If you see the population of the country now, it is within 75 years, it is 130 crores. You can have a measure of what is the percentage of increase in population, which is unprecedented in human habitation in the entire universe. At the same time, in Bangalore, in 2008, when it was recorded 50 lakhs, today it is 1.2 crores. So if you can see, within 14 years, where the population grown and what is the pressure on the government for developing the infrastructure. And Bangalore is attracting students, working professionals, domestic workers from all parts of the country. And today, in 2008, Government of Karnataka increased the governance size of the Bangalore city from 200 square kilometers to 800 square kilometers. From 200, it became 800. Once 200 becomes 800, you can know what will be the pressure on the government. Now I'll come to the agencies which are involved in governing the Bangalore city. Can you name the agencies which are involved in the Bangalore city governance day-to-day life of the citizens? BMRCL has not come. See, that is the dream actually. BMRCL is the dream for good governance in this city, which would have made a model in the entire country. But I will not go to the reasons why it's not come to life still, because BMRCL, it is called Bangalore Metropolitan Regional Planning Committee. If you see the day-to-day life, as you said, these are the 5 agencies which are mostly involved in. Main 3 agencies are BBMP, BWSSB and BESCOM. So urban governance, it's not a rocket science actually. If you think very practically, because when you go for practical studies, BBMP, the definition for BBMP and the the responsibility of BBMP is to keep the roads motorable, walkable footpath, and every day before 9 o'clock the street should be clean and the garbage should be collected from each and every household, and parks should be maintained, lakes should be maintained, playground should be maintained. These are the responsibilities of BBMP. BESCOM is the distribution of power, and they have their utilities on the side of the road where transformers are fixed on the side of the road. Now, wherever the road size are more than 60 feet, they are laying the cables underneath the road. Earlier, it used to be on the overhead cables. And BWSSB, every day They receive, now BWSSB receives water from Kaveri Basin. It is measured on Kanpura Road where the water enters the city. Every day BWSSB collects the water and it distributes to the citizens. And it has to lay the sanitation line also properly. These are the responsibilities of BWSSB. BDA plays a very small part, but it is involved in planning of some part of the BBMP, not the whole part of the BBMP. And we have got BMTC and Slum Development Board. These are the agencies which are split, which are involved. But to the large point, BBMP, BESCOM and BWSSB are the major three agencies which take care of the day-to-day requirement of the citizens. And I mean, why I'm saying you this is, see, mostly our country is where if you see the population pyramid, the central part of the pyramid is middle class. These are the class which are running our country. Because these are the people who pay their taxes honestly, and by this the country is run. The revenue from these taxes, the country is able to run. Most of these people who come under this category, they don't interact with politicians. That's correct, actually, because they eke out their living by going to job. They have their own family and they honestly pay the income tax, they honestly pay the property tax. In their view, they want a good water supply system, good sanitation and all other footpath, walkable footpath and motorable road. But have you ever questioned yourself whether whatever this government agencies are doing, whether they are doing an honest job or not? I think it might have uttered somewhere for you and you would have discarded the thought from your mind saying that it's not our cup of tea, let us think about the work we are up to. Because most of the times we divide ourselves from going there, which is not correct actually. Which is not correct. Why I'm telling you this is, even I had faced the same issues. When I became a corporator in 2010 for the first time, I went deep into the understanding of how the day-to-day governance is happening. Because what you see, what you hear in the newspapers or on the TV, television is actually not true. Most of the issues are not true. What you face regularly, day-to-day in the offices is what is the actual truth. So when I entered corporation, the main source of income for corporation was from property tax. Property tax was the main source of income because in 2000 there was an amendment in urban governance in Karnataka, and I think you would have studied in your curriculum. According to our constitution, Urban Development Ministry in the center controls 40% of the rules. Only the 60% of the rules, according to the needs of the local cities, we do slight amendments. We'll write this thing to the note to the central government and take their permission to enact any act. So in Bangalore, when we saw the governance actually, the property tax was collected through SAS scheme. How many know this SAS? It's called self-assessment scheme. Self-assessment scheme means you have your property, you declare the size of your plot, you declare the size of the constructed area and pay the tax according to the zone where your property is located. But to our astonishment, there was no checking mechanism. Whatever the property owners declared, it was taken on the face value. One, whether they were using it for self or if they had leased it out or if they had converted it to commercial, they had to disclose this but 90% of the citizens were not disclosing for the purpose of use correctly, and the size of the building constructed was also not correct. And there were a lot of properties which were not paying tax at all. There was no checking mechanism, and the worst part was they used to come and collect the tax manually, which is happening in a lot of other cities now also. When they used to come and collect the tax manually, they used to give the receipt. So most of the receipts were duplicate. The money was not going to corporation coffers. This was what I found in 2010 and this was happening for ages. And around 8 lakh properties were paying the tax, and the tax collection was around 500 crores of this big city. So there was a lot of other methodologies. I started implementing it, and without the knowledge of the corporation, because it's very difficult for you to bring in any change drastically, because you will not be allowed. There are a lot of big people who use their force not to bring in all this. You will come to know later when you start working. So when we started mapping each and every property using GIS technology, without this was not brought to the knowledge of the entire system. I had taken permission only with the commissioner and others. At that period of time, when I checked in BESCOM how many energy meters connection was there were nearly about 18.5 lakh to 19 lakh connections of energy meters. But here only 8 lakh properties were paying tax. So it was an Herculean task, and by using some other time I'll go very deep into the technology what was used, because it will take a lot of time for me to, on superficially, perimeter value I'll tell you how it was handled. We took one ward, we cut that ward boundaries, and through a GIS technology, we mapped the roads and the properties, and the roads which were below 90 degrees, below 45 degrees, which were running whether to the east or to the north. We took two different parameters where the roads which were running from east to west, we gave them even numbers. The road which were running north to south, we gave them odd numbers. By doing this, because once you fix the ward boundary becomes unique. And ward is given a name and a number in BBMP. So the ward becomes unique. In that, we made all the streets, either the streets running from east to west and the streets running from north to south, odd and even numbers we differentiated, and the streets which were running from clockwise direction, we gave the house numbers. These are the three parameters which make one PID number. So all these three, when we put together, it became a unique identity, and there was no overlapping of properties. There was no overlapping of properties with same PID number. But the most important thing was we had to validate it. For example, in your class itself, you will have similar named about 10-15 students in your college. But each student has got a unique features. So by that, now Aadhaar is there to take that details and give a unique number. Same way, unique PID is what we used first time in entire country, where all the properties were given unique property ID number, and but validation we took little more time. By doing this, now the tax collection has gone up to, from 500 crores, it has gone up to 3,500 crores. Actually, it could have gone up to more than 6,000-7,000 crores. Still today, government officials have not validated. If this was done by any private agency, we would have finished this work very long time. We could have earned that money. But since the government, you know how the government works, it takes its own time. And by doing this, we were able to bring transparency in tax collection. Today, citizens, honest taxpayers are not required to go to any office in government. They can sit in any part of the world by going to their tax website, by typing their PID number, and they can see it. The PID, once they type their PID number, they can see their property, and tax can be paid. This was the first initiative. To be very frank, it was the first initiative, not only in the country, it was in the entire world. Nobody had used this, because even I didn't know about this. When we presented this to the central government planning commission, which works along with the Prime Minister's office and the Urban Development Ministry in 2011, this project of BBMP, which I had envisaged, was awarded, and they gave an order also where all the urban local bodies in the entire country should use this without any changes. Then this project, Delhi government said, World e-governance is there if you check it up later. WeGo it is called. 99 best cities in the world participated in this, like New York, Boston, Shanghai, all these cities. Under efficiency category, this project, unique PID, GIS-based unique PID project in World e-governance, which was held in Barcelona in 2012, got first place. Why I'm telling you this is, if you set out and if you want to bring it, if you see anything, no change is small change in the government. No change is small. Why I'm telling you is, any idea you have got, because if I had commercialized this idea, if I had not given this idea to the government, the system what we had created, my friend, he is also my RV classmate, we had created this. If I had not given this to the government, I would have won a lot of money using this, which I could have given freely to all other cities in the country. Even till today, because in Ahmedabad, when they had invited me to implement this in Ahmedabad, there was a lot of reluctance. But they have implemented it now, and now also most of the cities have not. Still, even in Delhi, it is not there. So any change will not happen so easily. It's very difficult in urban local bodies. They know. If you see Bangalore on a broader sense, the state budget is 2.6 lakh crores. You know that. I think it will be in your studies. 2,60,000 crores is the state budget, Karnataka state budget. In that, the 1,70,000 crores revenue comes from only from Bangalore. So, if we govern the cities properly, we can give a very good all system. Not only the I think you would have gone through the welfare section in the what welfare plays for the country. For developed countries, it is called the social security assurance. In our constitution, welfare plays a major role, and for us to bring in a lot of revenue to the expenditure of welfare, you have to nurture the cities properly. This is where the wealth is created. We should not allow. The motto of you should be how that 1 rupee which is due to the city, it should come to the city's coffers, and the same rupee which is spent to the city, it should be transferable, transparent, and every citizen of this city should know how that 1 rupee is spent. That is the period we'll have a good governance. Now we are not knowing how the rupee is coming, from where, and how the rupee is being spent. Why I'm telling you is, at least in the places where you live, you should know what work BWSSP is doing, BESCOM is doing, BBMP is in front of your road. What is the expenditure they are incurring? Whether they, according to the expenditure, whether the work is happening, because it's your money. This is actually the governance. What we study and how we use it practically, it's two different things. But practically, you should be more active. Practically, and there is chance for, because I'm seeing a lot of youngsters. I'm really happy because 2 months back I had taken 4 hours session in Nazim College University. There also I saw a lot of youngsters. But if you become active, if you start becoming active and questioning the administrative as well as the political body in your localities, slowly other people will join you. Other people will definitely join you. But you should involve yourself very, very actively. Very actively you should involve, and whatever doubts are there, you should ask the people who are governing. And most of the time, I'm telling you frankly, most of the time, we don't know whatever questions you ask, the people who are governing, whether they'll be ignorant of it, or if they're knowing, they will not give you the exact answer. But you should pursue it. You should definitely pursue it. Why I'm telling you all this is, in urban governance, there is a vast scope for youngsters. Some of you can, now the government of India has allowed a lateral entry. It's not required for you to be an IAS or KS. Any one subject you can become a master and start entering the services. There is no preconceived that I have to write a KS exam or UPSC exam. Now the lateral entry is allowed. Secondly, you can stand for elections in local bodies. Some of you who are interested, because youngsters are required. Actually, I'm telling you what I'm seeing, what I've seen in these 10 years. There is a lot of gap, and everybody talks good governance, but nobody wants to come and do it. Somebody has to come forward, and whatever expertise they have got, they can take responsibility and do it. It's not it's not a family, you'll read in the newspapers. And apart from this, apart from the property tax, the main thing, it was a derivative of PID only, but in 2014, this led me to develop a mother document which was not there anywhere, because I was seeing a lot of corruption happening in the corporation. And already they had made this, they used to call me, this is the guy who created PID. And they used to be, the officials were reluctant to interact with me because they used to, they never used to allow me to go to their office. They used to say, whatever work you call me over phone, we'll do it. So when after this PID, I was seeing a lot of corruption in the works you are seeing in the Bangalore city. For example, earlier, the road in front of Mount Carmel College, it will be having some cross, the entire road, Cunningham Road, or for example, Cunningham Road is about 2 kilometers. They would have assigned in the works saying that 3 crores has been allotted in the budget for desilting of the drains, remodeling of the road. And within 6 months, Cunningham Road will have some cross, which the general public will not be aware of it. They'll put that name, and system is not able to identify Cunningham Road and the cross. What they put is one and the same. They take out the one more work order for the same cost. Since 6 months back, they have done this work. The later work, They will not do the work, they'll just draw the money. And public at large were not able to know. I mean, how will you know? Because it's the duty of the official to see. And when he himself is involved, how will the system will come to know, how the public will come to know? So there was rampant corruption in works. Rampant corruption was there in works. That was the time we created a mother document called Road History. I think you should have heard of it. Every now and then government uses. According to Road History, where only 50% they are using. They are also telling lies. Road History, actually, how we have mapped because of PID, entire Bangalore city roads has been mapped to an inch accurate. Accuracy is to the inch. The length of the road, the width of the road, and the size of the footpath, and the volume of the drain, rainwater drain, and number of manholes on the road, number of street lights, street poles, wherever transformers are, everything is marked now. Everything is mapped. And we categorize this entire roads into 4 distinctive unique things. It was called arterial roads, the main commercial roads where the buses fly, and the roads which connect the arterial roads were called subarterial. These subarterial roads were the main roads, commercial roads inside the residential area. In every locality we have got a commercial area where the buses go through it. And this connect to the main roads. This was given subarterial roads. And inter-ward roads, the roads which connect more than one ward, were called inter-ward roads, and the ward roads. The road which starts in that same ward and ends in that same ward were called ward. We have categorized the roads into 4 distinctive things, and we have got nearly 95,000 road IDs in Bangalore city. This is dynamic. This will be increasing because city will be growing. When we did this, we had 92,700 streets in 2013. Today it has become 95,000. This part of development will always be dynamic, where the roads will be adding to the existing data. Here we have given ID to all the roads, and we made an order in the corporation, and I made it very clear in Vidhan Saudha also to the MLAs and the Ministry, Urban Development Ministry, where there should not be a single rupee released without road ID, road history details for any work. Today, they are to large extent they are using it, but to be very frank, the officials who are involved in taking care of this, they are not giving that much importance to it. Wherever the importance is given, we have seen to large extent the corruption has come down. And when we asphalt any road, when we do allot some funds to the road, once the road is done, why I am stressing this again and again? Because this is the place where lot of money is spent. Lot of money is spent from the corporation side, because there we have written an inquiry where every road which is being taken up newly, once it is finished, we should have defect liability period, because the contractor who has done that road has to take care of the street for so many years it is there, which is not happening. And if you see these agencies, as you said, BBMP, BESCOM, BWSSB, all the utilities, either it comes side of the road or below the road. So if these 3 agencies work in tandem, we can save a lot of unnecessary expenditure. And this should come to the awareness of all the 1 crore citizens who are in Bangalore. They should know what road history is. If they do any work in your areas, I'm stressing this, if they do any work in your areas, just see to it that the person who is doing the work, he has to put on the board what is the road ID of your street, what is the amount of tender he has taken, what is the nature of the work. Unless then, I'm telling you, I'm stressing this, don't allow him to work. If you don't know all these details, you will not know whether the money, what has been allocated, is being spent properly or not. And this is where if these two are used properly, PID and road history, I'm stressing this again and again. If you see Bangalore City Agency's budget, why I'm stressing you this is BBMP, BESCOM, BWSSP, BDA, Slum Board and BMTC, all put together, we have got every year 30,000 crores budget. How much? 30,000 crores. If this road history is used properly, PAD is for bringing in the revenue to the corporation. If road history is the document where all these agencies are linked, BBMP has to do the work at the last, because water supply line comes below the ground, sanitary line comes below the ground, BESCOM work comes on the side of the road. If you do the BBMP work first and again if these people come, again you have to do the road work. Understood? This is what is happening now. If there is an linking of these three agencies properly, NOCs are taken from BESCOM, BWSSB by BBMP saying that we are allocating funds for this particular road to do the work. If you have any infra work on this, you please do it. Later we'll take it up. Or give us NOC. If this is documented properly, then the pilferage wastage of money will be very huge. We can cut the unnecessary expenditure, and I would say it's nothing but corruption. This is what is happening, and this road history is not there in the entire country. It's only in Bangalore what we have created. This actually it was like Bangalore, how Bangalore is an IT hub for India. The triple the size is Chengdu. I think most of you will be knowing. It is in China. There they gave award for this project. Why I'm telling you is we have got system here. We have to see to it that it is, they are using this. What I created, they have taken it. And easily it can be done. But what has happened, knowledgeable voices are not there who should force the system saying that you don't do the work unless road history details are there. Unless it is made public, don't do the work. And you can ask the house where your house is located, in front of your house the road has got an ID. Not the cross or address what you have got. I have given a unique ID to it. They have to, if you put that ID, your road details is there. What is the width of the road? What is the length of the road? What is the size of everything is there in that. So anything can be checked now. Only thing is, you should educate your because I am not able to do this. Most of them don't understand where I debate in the council or something. Most of them are not ready to listen. These are the documents. These are the unique initiatives which can actually make the governance very transparent. And if you see, even I have not checked, I have to check. If you see the amount of budget that is allocated to urban local bodies in this country, it goes more than 7 to 8 lakh crores. Because this is the place where everybody comes to city to eke out their living. You will not get jobs staying in tier 3 or tier. So after they pursue their dream in the cities. And city is the place where you should make it livable. Governance should be transparent. And these are the things which will make governing the system very, very transferable. We have to make it transparent. And most of the Bangalore citizens, because once they get into their working mode, they have no time to interact with this. They only pay the property tax and they want proper water supply. They will not bother who is doing the work, whether it's done according to the required quality or not. They will not check. Nothing is happening. So there is a saying, the society is the reflection of how the citizens behave. So that is what is happening. If we start questioning the system will alter its governance. If we don't question, we will not have a transparent, accountable government in whichever part. Since you people have taken urban governance as your career, there is a vast gap for you people, practically, where any one line you can start, whichever interests you, you have to go deep into it. And if you have any doubts about Bangalore city governance, urban local bodies, urban ministry, like somebody told Bangalore metropolitan, that would have been the best way of governing the city. They will not allow. If that happens, this will be equal to any developed city in the world. But I don't think you have to, you people, the youngsters, you have to raise your voice and we should see whether it will happen or not. It's there in the talk. There is not I was the member for it. In the 7 years, there is not a single meeting. It will bring transparency. Because if you have a planning agency and infrastructure agencies like BBMP, BESCOM, BDA and all, on one umbrella, who was this? I don't think. The best part is I am fighting right now for amalgamation of governance, of bringing these three agencies under one roof, that is BBMP, BESCOM and BWSSB. One thing you should know, wherever there is an elected body, I'm telling you frankly with my experience, wherever there is an elected body, always there will be a conflict of interest between an elected body and an executive. So, the truth will come out if not today, tomorrow it will come out. But where there is only an executive body, you will not come to know the truth unless it is probed. For example, BESCOM and BWSSB, as an elected representative, I am telling you boldly, it's very difficult to take the details from them. Very difficult to take the details from them. So always, the governing agencies should always have an elected body. The elected body, they'll make noise, it might be irrelevant, but someday the truth will come out. And next best thing what happened is, there are a lot of initiatives we have done in this. The third most important thing, what I was able to address by help of PAD was, you have seen unaccounted for water project in the entire city. Have you gone deep into it? Unaccounted for water. See, BWSSB is the agency which collects water from Kaveri Basin. Every day, water, Mysore is at a lower level. Bangalore and Mysore has an height difference of 1200 feet. Mysore is at a lower level. So water should be pumped. Every day, water is pumped to the Bangalore city from Mysore basin. The water enters Bangalore on Kanpur Road. You can check. I think there might be a practical session for where you can go and if your principal or if your teacher writes to BWSSB, you can actually go and see the pumping station on Kanpur Road. It's very nice. You can go there and have a look at it. The water is pumped to the Bangalore city. BWSSB is the agency which measures the water which comes inside the city. And they only supply to the public. And every month you pay the bill to it. Water supply bill, BWSSB bill you pay. The efficiency of BWSSB 7 years back was, what was the efficiency? Can anybody guess? If 100 liters is pumped in, what was the BWSSB to how many liters it was billing? Can you just guess it? Actually, efficiency was 35%. You will be stunned to know this. So 65% was pilferage. Most of the quantity was pilferage. They used to say transmission loss. Nobody had checked this. So when we forced BWSSB to use PID, I forced them, and it was an Herculean task. A lot of fights happened because they were not ready to adopt the system. And I have debated in council also a lot of times. Then, see what happened. No elected representative wants to take up this work because the people who are drinking free water will not vote for him if he is caught. It's a normal 35% is the efficiency. If you use PID, where when we used PID, when we superimposed in particular ward, I used PID system, and I superimposed the water meters connected properties on the data on a A0 sheet. When I did this, where I thought the pilferage will be less because most of the citizens were law-abiding in that area, when I superimposed it, 44,000 PID 43,000 change PID numbers were there. So many properties were there. To be very frank, only 30,000 and change were having authorized connections. 13,000 change were not having connection, but they were drinking Kaveri water. So no elected representative was ready to take up this work because this 13,000, once you remove their unauthorized connection, they will definitely come against you. So it became a lot of effort, and we were able to convince, and we took up this project as a pilot project, and we made it look like an agency work, and it was requested from L&T to take up the work with not normal contractors. And today, this project, it's in what projects have told PID, road history, and unaccounted for water. See, today, Japanese bank has funded nearly 4,000 crores, and they are funding even more, where the efficiency of water supply has come up to 70% today. Today, it has come up to 70%. 70% of the water supply pumped from Mysore region is become accountable by using this PID system. And these three projects, what was planned one after the one, have become unique in the entire country, and especially unaccounted for water, because water is required. You see in the newspapers today also, there was a Mekadatu subject. If anybody has read the newspaper, yesterday there was a Mekadatu subject. It's again building a dam, because population in Bangalore is increasing. Government is afraid when the water supply shortage will start. So that work. So if we can bring in technology and make the usage transparent, accountable, this is what is the result of it. And to be very frank, these 3 milestone projects, no city in entire country, I'm stressing this, no city in entire country has done this work. And today, other cities are asking for bits and pieces. They are asking. I mean, they want at the same time, with the result, they're a little bit. Because if these 3, there are other things what I have done, but these are the things nobody will practically, these are the things which are required to the city. And only people like you who have theoretically read the urban governance, and if you see how it has been implemented, governed properly, where you can bring in changes, people like you only will know. Not a common man. 100%, it takes time. At least in your wards, you start asking this questions, whatever you have come to know today. Just find out, most of the officials will also be not knowing this. Most of them will not be knowing deep about this. And unaccounted for water, you can check it up with BWSSB and see where the water, it's a place where you can see how the water supply system, because there are about 10 to 12 GLRs, ground level reservoirs, on the periphery of the city where the water is pumped and it's collected. Again, for example, here high ground, there is one GLR. This road, this was built by Britishers. This road here only. Balbury, opposite to Balbury, if you go there, there is a GLR. From there, the water is supplied to this area, Arti Nagar, Malleshwaram, whole of Kumara Park. This is the GLR which supplies. You can just go there. You should know about it actually. Why I'm telling you is, you should know all these things. And for urban governance, these are the practical requirements. Tomorrow, if you want to bring in any changes in the system, you should know how the water supply is happening. And there will be a complaint in your areas. This area, we are giving more water supply. In our area, water supply is coming for only 1 hour. These are all small adjustments what officials would have done. And any questions from your side? Anything? Please. Actually, PAD, if you in 11, actually I got it released by CM in 2012. When I started working on this PAD project, none of the officials were knowing about this. I had not brought it to the notice, and actually for 6-7 months it went for a toss actually. We were planning to do something and we failed. But never I brought this to the notice of the government, because if they come to know, recently you've seen in newspaper, this year they're planning to collect 5,500 crores as their tax. From 500 crores, where it has gone and where it was going earlier. So those forces will not allow you to bring in any changes. It will be huge. Madam, VDA, if you see, that's why I asked you. I'll explain to you in broader sense. According to your constitution, housing, education and health is the birthright of every citizen. But since our government was in a developing stage, since our government was in development mode, that's why in the initial stage itself I asked you how many know in detail about the welfare. You know how the welfare funds is calculated? It's very important. See, for example, our parents run the house. They will plan our living according to the income. Okay. So same way, the country also runs on that basis only. It's same. So if 100 rupees is earned by the government, okay, 100 rupees government is earning. This you be very careful in catching this. If 100 rupees is earned by the government, for example, 20 rupees is spent for government employees for their salaries, for their welfare and other things. So in 100, you have got now 80 rupees. And government would have taken loan from bank or IMF or Asian, wherever it is. They would have taken 15 years long period loan or 20 years long period. For that year, they should be paying some principal plus interest. For example, let us take that runs up to 7 to 8 rupees. So from 80, you minus that 78. You have got 72 rupees. In this 72 rupees, I'm stressing this, in this 72 rupees, before any development, this is how all the states in our country run, and the Indian government also runs on this only. This is the platform. In this 72 rupees, the first expenditure is welfare. First expenditure is welfare. Then only comes development. But what had happened till now? What had happened till now? In this welfare, whatever amount is spent, for 1 rupee if you spent to the beneficiary, earlier only 18 paisa was reaching him. 82 paisa was lost in the transition. Only 18 paisa was reaching. Today, after technology in financial industry, after all this happening, today it has crossed more than 60 paisa. The beneficiary is getting the average amount reaching to the beneficiary, which has to be 100 paisa, it is at least crossed 60. So by the time it crosses more than 80 or 90, our country will be definitely developed. Once the welfare is in proper place, because people who are in the BPL and below line, if the housing happens to them, if healthcare becomes the government subject and education becomes the government subject, then we would have digitized the entire country by now. For that to happen, we have to digitize. No, actually, 7 lakh 90 change properties were paying tax. That was documented. And in Bescom, they had more than 17 lakh change energy meters, because they were monthly they were giving the bills. So that was the trigger point. That was actually the trigger point. And false disclosure, I will tell you publicly. I took up holiday as the example for SAS, and you have seen IBM Tech Park on Banarghatta Road. IBM has taken it for rent, and I cross-checked whether under SAS self-assessment scheme, what is the area of the plot, what is the actual constructed area, and what is the tax they are paying. In Holiday Inn, I gave this project to my college students, RV students. We measured it by using tape. It was a very tedious job. When we measured here, Holiday Inn was also a rented property. When we measured, we got 290,000 square feet as the constructed area. They were paying rent for 90,000 constructed area. Okay. And when IBM, I find 9 crores. And Cessna Tech Park, if you have seen on Marthali Road, now it has become Embassy Tech Park. Cessna, I was there on the site. I had taken the officials. They had built 17 lakh square feet, 1.7 million square feet. They are paying tax for 9 lakh square feet. And the open area, parking area, they have to pay 4 rupees as per square feet tax. They were paying 2 rupees. So, when we checked the arrears, it came up to 39 crores. And Embassy Tech Park, Manyata Tech Park, they're also, see, under SAS, nobody was declaring the actual constructed area purpose of use, and 50% of the properties were not paying tax. And more about that, people who paid manual tax honestly to the officials, 50% was not coming to the corporation. There was no checking mechanism. Today, it has become what they say, no, Aadhaar for human beings, PAD for properties. That has become a mantra in cities in Karnataka now. They are trying to adopt it. No, most of we have got around, today we have got around nearly 4 lakh and change commercial properties. This area, 95% were misusing it. Okay. We have got 50% honest taxpayers, the general public. There we didn't find any. And actually, when we, it was a very smooth transition, very smooth. Once I announced this, year afterwards, there will be no manual collection of tax, and even in the offices, nobody should take the cash and issue the receipt. That also we have banned, and no check also. There is no check payment for the property tax payment, no cash, and no manual collection. It's only online or DD, only these two. There was no, initially there might be, but it has not come up to our level. Everybody pays online. Today collection, more than 50% is through online only. Okay.
So I'm wondering if you have such good ideas. Is there a plan for you to share these lessons with other colleges from other schools? Is that happening?
Actually, to be very frank, I had never made this all. When in 2012, when I launched this PAD also, I got it launched through CM. I had written the rules, but it was launched by CM. And even the road history, when I launched it, with a small group of officials and corporators, committee members, I launched it because I didn't want to make it too obvious because the wrong side stakeholders were very high. Slowly I wanted to bring the system into the force. And especially if you see the unaccounted for water, I have fought in BESCOM head offices. Nowhere we told it is through PAD we have done. Officials only started telling it is through what Manjunath Raju has done that we are implementing. I have never made it. And I am getting the offers to do these projects from different parts of not in the country. They are telling me to come and implement in other places. Here, the reluctance is too high. Especially, see, this all the metros they should have copied by now. Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai, they should have copied it. I can't go and it becomes a commercial thing. It's the governance might be little different, but the base is same. Base is same. In my ward only nobody knows. Only people in Upper Malleshwaram near my house, that is surrounding MBS College, they know about this. This is the guy who was there. Most of my voters also don't know that I was the one who was behind this. Now I am telling. But it can be done. It's easy. But a lot of hard work is there. I've given you only the superficial part. Technologically, lot of, but it's nothing. Once we have done, it can be done. First wave when the COVID came, I was the health committee chairman for Bangalore. War room, you know. If you see first phase, there was no issue at all. First phase, if you recollect, the war room hardware project was done by our ex-commissioner, Mr. Anil Kumar and Epsi Barani. Both are IAS officers. The software was nothing but the derivative of PID only. When we have done PID, see, next time I'll tell you, we have picked all the salient things in that. For example, there is an hospital, there is a nursing home, there is a 5-star hotel, there is a Darshani. All this has been picked in the PID system. We have given unique identification to hospitals which were having more than 50 beds. It was done way back. Maternity hospitals are given separate identity, and hospitals with ICU were given separate identity. Why we did this is, by using PID, in 2015, we did public health information system. In corporation area, we have done public health information system. Here, dengue, malaria and cholera. These are the three seasonal diseases which occur. So when we did this, we gave unique IDs to these hospitals and nursing homes. And they have got a server, we have got a central server in the corporation. Every evening, we have got the Bangalore city is divided into 8 zones. Every evening, if there is a dengue case in that locality, for example, in Banaswadi area, dengue is there. So we don't know where the dengue is. Dengue cases, somewhere the report happens in newspaper. Then our health officers, we say them to be alert now. So they get the information in which hospitals dengue cases are registering. We'll come to know these are the areas in Bangalore city where the dengue cases are more. The density is more. So there we'll start plugging the area and creating awareness to the. And if the malaria outbreak is there, if the cholera is there, so we had built the system earlier itself. This made COVID-1 easy for us because in night zones, we superimposed this PHA system on the war room and we divided, there was 8 zones already divided. We had 148 public health centers in BBMP area. And in other 50 to 50 wards, we didn't have public health centers. We took some buildings as for rent, and we had taken 780 ambulances. Each ward we gave 3 ambulances, one to the corporator, one to the assistant engineer, one to the health inspector. Each ward is having a population of 40,000 to 45,000. So this once we gave this ambulance to each ward, and next 100 ambulances was fixed with ICU facility, and the other 80 ambulances we are divided into 8 zones. I'm sorry, I have to say this. This was used for carrying the dead bodies. Each zone we give 10 ambulances for carrying the body because that was taken to a crematorium which was far away from the city. And all the ambulances were fixed with GPS system. And real time we used to know in the war room where the ambulances are going. Once we got the case details, we used to see where the COVID positive has come. The nearest ambulance, we used to call them. We used to give the address. They used to go and so it became very effective during the first phase. It was my pleasure to addressing a young lot of people who are at a very young age. You have taken this wonderful subject as your career, and I mean, no amount of happiness is equivalent to working for the next citizen, voiceless citizen. And this is the area where you can make difference. And definitely I am very happy. And I think you people were also equally happy with whatever I have shared. Thank you. Thank you very much.